Hello all, today we will see a new chapter of class 12 biology, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Today we will see up to the androecium and gynoecium part. Okay, let's start the lesson. Let's see the first page. Let's read the first page. Now, all flowering plants show sexual reproduction. So, which type of the plant kingdom shows sexual reproduction? All flowering plants. Now, flowers, which are the sites of sexual reproduction? The flowers are the sites of the sexual reproduction. Okay. Now, let's move to the next page. Yeah. Okay, now let's read the matter and I will explain. Now, several hormonal and structural changes results in differentiation and development of the floral primordium. What are the reasons for the development of the floral primordium? The reasons are several hormonal. Hormones are due to the plants. Okay. Now, structural means environmental changes results in differentiation and development of the floral primordium. Okay, this is the one. This is the structural means due to environmental changes. Inflorescence bears the floral buds and the flowers. So, inflorescence will bear the floral buds and buds will bear the flowers. Okay, this is the diagram. We will see that about the diagrams, the last section of our chapter. Okay. I will be with you. That means the last session. So, a typical flower has two parts. So, a typical flower has which parts? Based on the reproduction, they are of two parts. What the parts? Androecium as well as gynoecium. The androecium, the gynoecium. Okay. Now let's see about the androecium part. Now it is the male reproductive part of the flower. So, what is the male reproductive part of this flower? Androecium. So, androecium is the male reproductive part of the flower. It consists of a whorl of stamens. So, androecium consists of a whorl of stamens, and their number and length are variable in different species. So, the length of the anthers and their number are variable in various species. So, number and length are variable in different species. Okay. Now let's move to the next page. Okay. Now we have completed the first part. Now, in androecium, the constituent particles are stamen. Now, the stamen is again divided into two types, that is filament and anther. Okay? The stamen consists of the filament and anther. Okay? Now, we will see about the filament of the stamen. That's the first part. Filament is long and slender stalk. Okay? So, look like this is the filament. So, long and slender stalk. So, filament is the long and slender stalk. Its proximal end is the proximal end. This is is the proximal end. It attaches to the thalamus or to the pedal. So, which part of the filament attaches to either to the thalamus or the pedal of the flower? It is the proximal end. Okay, this is about the filament. Okay, now we will see about the anther. Now, anther is the second one. Now, the terminal end is typically bilobed. Look here, it is bilobed. Look, this is the one, bilobed. So, this is the one lobe, and this is the one lobe. Look, this is the one lobe, this is the one lobe. This is first lobe, second lobe. So, it is on a bilobed. Each lobe has in the anther there are two lobes, and in each lobe it has two thecae. We will see about the thecae in the next the constituent parts of chapter. After a long groove lengthwise separating the thecae. Look here, this is the groove of the filament divides the anther into two parts separating the thecae. Look, this part. This one separates the, which one? Separates the anther into two. Okay. Now we will see about the transverse section of the anther. Okay, the anther is tetragonal section consisting of 4 microsporangia located at the corner, that is 2 in each lobe. The anther is which shape? Tetragonal shape, and it consists of how many microspora? It has 4 microspora. So one in each one. Located at the corners. This tetragonal section, but part of 4 lobes, and it has 4 microsporangia, and it located at the corners. There at the corners, in each lobe, how many are present? 2 are present. Okay, the microsporangia develop into pollen grains. So, what is the mother cell of the pollen grains? It is microsporangia. So, microsporangia develops into pollen sacs. They extend longitudinally and all through the length of an anther and are packed with pollen grains. So, microsporangia are the mother cells of the pollen sacs. In the pollen sacs, pollen grains are formed. So, they extend longitudinally all throughout the length. That means all throughout the length, the microsporangia are present of an anther and are packed with pollen grains. Okay, they are packed with pollen grains. Now, this is the structure of the pollens of anther. Now, this is the anther. Look, this is the 4 one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look here, in that here. Okay, look here. These are the pollen grains. The pollen grain is present. Okay. Now the microspore mother cells. This is the tapetum. We will see about the constituent particles that will contain parts in the later stages. Okay. Now we will see about the constituent parts of the microsporangium. A typical microsporangium is circular in outline. So microsporangium is in which shape? It is circular in shape. While the anther in which shape? Tetragonal shape. So microsporangium has 4 walls. That is, it is made up of 4 wall layers. That means from outside to inside, the pathogens or outer particles will need to pass 4 developing this cells of the anther to release the pollen. So these three help in what? They help in protection and dehiscence of the anther to release the pollen grains. So this is the one. Anther is the anther. Now anther sacs. This is the anther sacs. This all. This is the anther sac. Anther sac is the anther sac. Now here it are the pollen grains. Now this is the outer layers. We will see about the diagram, the last steps. Okay, let's move to the next page. Okay, the same diagram, but of different shape. Now, the structure of that tapetum nourishes, that is innermost layer, nourishes the developing pollen grain. So, what is the nourishing layer? Tapetum. So, tapetum is the nourishing layer. So, tapetum is the nourishing layer. Cells of the tapetum contain their cytoplasm and they don't have more than one nucleus. So, in the tapetum, the cells contains more than one nucleus. So, it is known as multinucleated cells. Cells of tapetum have more than one nucleus. In young anther, each microsporangium has sporogenous tissue at center. So, in the stage, each microsporangium has which tissue? Sporogenous tissue. So, each microsporangium has sporogenous tissue. It consists of compactly arranged homologous diploid cells. So, sporogenous tissue has compactly arranged. Look here. This is the sporogenous tissue, compactly arranged cells. Like this. Okay? And the cells are known as sporogenous tissue cells, not tissues. So it is sporogenous cells. Okay. Now we will see the next page. Now microsporogenesis. We will end this session with microsporogenesis. Okay? As the develop each sporogenous cell, we have seen at egg stage that sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous tissue gives rise to sporogenous cells. As the develop each sporogenous cell, that microspore undergoes mitotic division to form microspore tetrads. That means we have seen in the first one that the microspores sporogenous cell undergoes which type of division? They undergoes meiotic division to form which? Microspore tetrads. That means microspores are arranged in 4 cells. Microspores tetrads. That means they are arranged in a cluster of 4 cells. The formation of microspores from the pollen mother cell through meiosis is called microsporogenesis. So, sporogenous cell undergoes meiotic division to form microspore tetrads and they are arranged in a 4 cell panel. Now, microspore formation of pollen sac, that is pollen mother cell, gives rise to what? Microspores, and this is known as microsporogenesis. So, microsporogenesis is the production, the formation of microspores from microspore mother cell or prolongate mother cell. Now, microsporogenesis is the same. As the anthers mature and dehydrates, the microspore dissociate from each other and develop into pollen grains. So, as the anthers mature, so they are reaching a certain age and they dehydrates and it releases 4 pollen grains from a single cell. That means from single cell they have contained 4 micropore tetrads. So 4 micropore tetrads from one cell. So microspores dissociate from each other and develop into pollen grains. Now each one will produce thousands of pollen grains. They are released with the dehiscence of anther. With the dehiscence of the anther, they will dissociate. This is the one. So first, at younger stage, they contain sporiginous tissue. Sporiginous tissue gives rise to sporiginous cells. Sporiginous cells will form microspore tetrads. So microspore tetrads will form microspores. So microspores will divide into dissociates and they form pollen grains. Pollen grains will be in how much quantity? It is in thousands of quantities, and it will dehiscence and it will release. That means at the other dehiscence, that it will die. So it will dehiscence and it will release. That means the pollen grains are released with the dehiscence of anther. This is the simple one. You can remember. Now pollen grain. We will see about the pollen grain. What is a pollen grain? So the pollen grain is generally spherical and the diameter is 25 to 50 millimeters. And cytoplasmics is cytoplasmic surrounded by plasma membrane. Pollen grain has 2 layers. So pollen grain has outer layer and an inner layer. Outer layer is called exide, inner layer is known as intine. Exide as well as intine. So the characteristics are spherical and they are 25 to 50 millimeters of diameter, and its cytoplasm is surrounded by a plasma membrane, and as well as that has 2 layers. It is exide and intine. The first information about the pollen grain. Okay, now we will see about the exide. So exide has a special property that makes the pollen grain to survive in many years. The special property is it has a sporolenid as the outer layer. Look here, this hard outer layer made up of sporolenid. Now no enzyme is discovered can degrade this layer as not known. Okay, it is highly resistant organic material. So it can withstand all the adverse conditions, that means high temperature, high pH, high and so on. So look here, enzyme cannot degrade sporolenid. Okay, exide has apertures called germ pores. So from these germ pores, from these germ pores, the pollen tube is arises. Why you have doubt that? Why? You said that sporolenid is integratable, but germ pore do not have any sporolenid. Look here, sporolenid is absent. Pollen grains are preserved as fossil due to the presence of sporolenid. I said now. Exide exhibit patterns and designs. Okay, it will exhibit patterns as well as designs. Okay, now this is the exide. Exide is made up of sporolenid. Sporolenid is a highly resistant organic matter. No enzyme can degrade this till now. Right? It can withstand high temperature, high pH, and it has now exide has germ pores through which pollen tube will arise, and the sporolenid is absent there. So due to the presence of sporolenid, it can be preserved lots of years as fossils. Now exide exhibit patterns and designs. Now let's go to the next page. Now we will see about intine. It is inner wall. It is thin and continuous layer. It is made up of cellulose and pectin. Look here, it is made up of cellulose and pectin, while the exide is made up of sporolenid. It is inner wall, continuous layer. But side is somewhat distorted at the center and the outer layers. Okay, this is the valve. Now we have completed about the pollen grain egg. Outer layer, inner layer, and so on. Now we will see about the pollen grain in more details. So, a pollen grain has two cells. What are the types of two cells? Vegetative cell and generative cell. So, it is bigger and abundant food reserve and a large irregular shaped nucleus. So, here the pollen grain is divided. It has vegetative cell and generative cell. Vegetative cell is bigger and the generative cell is smaller. And vegetative cell has abundant food reserve while it does not have any abundant food. And a large irregular nucleus. Now, the generative cell floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell. Generative cell will float in which cytoplasm? The vegetative cell cytoplasm. Now, the shape is spindle shaped with the dense cytoplasm and has a nucleus. It has a nucleus and the shape is spindle shaped and has a dense cytoplasm. Okay? Now, a pollen grain has vegetative cell, generative cell. It is bigger, generative cell is smaller, and it has abundant food reserve. And the generative cell floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell, and it has irregular shaped nucleus, and it has dense spindle shape, and it has dense cytoplasm nucleus. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. Now over 60% of angiosperms shed their pollen grain at which stage? Two cell stage. In others, generative cell divides into two, by which mitotically to give two male gametes, thus pollen grains are shed at three cell stage. 60% are at two cell, while remaining 40% will at three stage by mitosis. Right. So the 60% are shed at two cell stage, and the general 40% divides mitotically. That is, generative cell divides two by mitosis and produces then two male gametes. So it will become three and it's at three cell stages. Okay. Now we will see the next. Okay. Okay. Now the shed pollen grains have to land on before they lose viabilities. That means they have certain life period. So they are on shed. That means they are covered, and they have to land on the stigma. So to ensure to lose the viability, they shed the pollen grains. Why should they shed? Because they lose their viability before landing. Some cases, the viability of the pollen grains is variable. It depends on the temperature and this is the one. Yes, this is the second case. So, viability of the pollen grains are dependent upon the temperature and the humidity. Now, viability of pollen grains of some cereals, that means rice and wheat, is 30 minutes. Okay, of some cereals like rice and wheat is 30 minutes. Okay, some cereals are like the pollen grains. Excuse me, it is the cereals pollen grains is of viability 30 minutes. Some members of Leguminaceae and Rosaceae and Solanaceae have viability for months. So cereals pollen grain viability is about 30 minutes, and Solanaceae, Rosaceae and Leguminaceae have viability for months. I think this is the last page. Yeah. Now, pollen grains are rich in meat nutrients, so they are used in the Western countries as food supplements. Look here. they are these are food supplements. Pollen grains or syrup increase the performance of athletes and race horses. Here, increase the performance of which race athletes and race horses. Okay. Now, to store them, what is used? The liquid nitrogen is used. At which temperature? Minus 196 degrees Celsius. Now, in crop breeding programs, the pollen banks are present. Pollen grains of some plants are allergic for some people. So, some plant pollen grains are causing diseases like asthma, bronchitis, and so on. Okay? Pollen grains of some plants. The examples of plants are Parthenium or carrot grass. Are allergic for some people. It leads to diseases like asthma and bronchitis. Okay?